The shuttles gliding toward Vexor Prime always reminded Commander Aaron Solara of glass daggers, beautiful, polished, and one breath away from shattering. The capital hung in orbit like a cathedral of crystal, its towers gleaming with captured starlight. Visitors often spoke of its elegance. Aaron saw only fragility. His diplomatic craft drifted into the docking halo. The station's silver petals folded aside, revealing a corridor flooded with cold blue light. A reception squad waited. Their rigid posture confirmed what he already sensed. The Galactic Concord wasn't calling this emergency summit to exchange pleasantries. Aaron stepped through the airlock, expression neutral. His tailored uniform carried no weapons. The appearance of vulnerability was part of the act. Humanity's greatest advantage wasn't its technology. Though that was formidable, it was the deception wrapped around it. Centuries of effort had gone into shaping an image of Terrans as clever but harmless. Aaron embodied that image perfectly. A tall, slate-skinned officer scanned his ID chip. "Commander Solara," he said, voice cool. "The High Chancellor requests immediate attendance. No delays." "Then let's not keep him waiting," Aaron replied, offering a measured smile. The escort led him through winding corridors toward the central hall. The walls projected serene holograms, peaceful gardens, drifting nebulae, tranquil scenes meant to soothe. The Concord favored these illusions. They believed beauty kept the galaxy civilized. Aaron preferred substance over scenery. When the doors slid open, a wave of heated argument struck him. Delegates from dozens of species filled the chamber, their voices overlapping in sharp bursts. The glowing Concord insignia hovered above the central podium like a watchful eye. At the podium stood High Chancellor Dravik Kalor. Dravik's ceremonial robes shimmered with gold filaments, though the effect only highlighted the rigid lines of irritation shaping his face. His 4 eyes locked onto Aaron instantly. "At last," Dravik snapped. "Humanity's representative arrives." Aaron moved to his seat with unhurried grace. "The summons reached us only hours ago, Chancellor. I came as swiftly as possible. A species truly concerned with galactic stability," Dravik countered, "would have arrived before the crisis escalated." Aaron folded his hands. "Then perhaps we should define what crisis you're referring to." Dravik gestured toward a hollow sphere. It flickered to life, projecting the desperate final moments of a Concord patrol fleet. Ships twisted, shields collapsing like punctured membranes. Brilliant arcs of plasma cut through the darkness, and then the feed dissolved in static. Gasps whispered across the chamber. 200 vessels, Dravik said, voice edged with steel. "Destroyed in under 4 minutes. Only 6 escape pods retrieved." A representative from the Karth Dominion hissed. "The attackers bypassed our scanners. They bent the sensor grid around themselves." Another added. "And the energy signatures, unnatural. As if the source wasn't entirely bound to this dimension." Aaron's pulse tightened. So it was finally happening. Dravik's tone sharpened. "The Concord Security Council believes humanity may possess intelligence it has chosen not to share." There it was, the accusation. Aaron kept his composure. "On what grounds would we withhold critical information?" Dravik leaned forward. "Your species has a history of unconventional developments. Unregistered research outposts. Discrepancies in technological output. Missing logs from deep space sectors supposedly under Terran watch." The gallery murmured. "Chancellor," Aaron said evenly, "humanity has complied with every Concord requirement. We share what we know." "Convenient," Dravik replied, "given that no one can verify the extent of Terran explorations." Before Aaron could respond, the room dimmed. A secure transmission flared across his personal wrist node, visible only to him. "Priority signal, Eegis network. Vorketh's signature confirmed. Dimensional breach expanding. Protocol Zenith at 68% trigger threshold." Aaron's breath slowed. Centuries of fear aligned with certainty. The Vorketh were not rumor. Not myth. They had arrived. He silenced the alert and returned his attention to the chamber. A representative rose. "Commander Solara, Can humanity assist us in identifying the attackers? Aaron considered his words carefully. Too much truth would unravel everything, too little would deepen suspicion. We are investigating, Aaron said. Preliminary analysis suggests an extragalactic vector. Unknown physiology. Extreme energy manipulation. Dravik slammed a fist on the podium. Vague answers. Humanity always speaks in riddles. We demand full access to Terran military systems until this threat is contained. A ripple of shock swept through the delegates. Aaron lifted his gaze, his tone soft but crystalline in clarity. You're asking us to surrender our defensive command. Not asking, Dravik corrected. Requiring. For the safety of all. Aaron let silence settle. His heart steadied. He saw Dravik's true intent, control, not unity. Humanity cannot comply, Aaron said. We will contribute fully, but not under forced oversight. Dravik's eyes hardened. Then humanity risks being viewed as a destabilizing force. Aaron didn't blink. Or perhaps we risk being honest. The chamber erupted in argument again. Dravik raised his hand, demanding order, but the chaos drowned him out. Species shouted accusations, warnings, pleas. Fear had entered the hall like a living entity. Aaron sat still amid the storm, letting their panic wash over him. He had played humanity's role for years, calm, cooperative, perpetually underestimated. But the Vorketh's arrival changed everything. The mask could only hold so long. A message came through his implant, silent, urgent. Terran High Command, standing by for your directive. Do we initiate veil drop? He tapped a concealed reply node beneath the table. Not yet. Maintain shadow posture. Prepare for escalation. The uproar continued until Dravik shouted for adjournment. Delegates dispersed hurriedly, some avoiding Aaron's gaze, others staring with a mixture of suspicion and fear. Outside the hall, Aaron walked alone toward the diplomatic wing. The corridors were quieter, but the tension lingered like static in the air. When he reached his private suite, he sealed the door, activated a sound shield, and opened a secure channel. The hologram of a Terran admiral materialized. Commander, the situation is deteriorating. The Vorketh breach has doubled in size. We await your signal. Aaron exhaled slowly. Begin silent mobilization. No overt movements. The galaxy isn't ready to see us yet. And when will it be ready? The Admiral asked. Aaron looked toward the distant window, where Vexor Prime's towers glimmered like brittle glass. When the lies stop protecting us, he said, and start endangering everyone. He closed the channel, straightened his uniform, and whispered to himself. The mask stays on, but not for much longer. The lights in Aaron's suite dimmed as the encryption lattice activated, forming a silent sphere around him. Every channel beyond it vanished, every signal muted by layered quantum veils. Only a few Terrans in existence could generate this level of secrecy, and Aaron was one of them. He stood at the window. Vexor Prime glittered, its white towers casting reflections across the dark curve of the planet. To others, it was a symbol of order. To Aaron, it was a monument built on assumptions the galaxy could no longer afford. A second secure alert pulsed. This one came coded in an old Terran pattern, rarely used outside high command emergencies. Eegis network request, historical context briefing. Aaron knew why it had arrived. If he was to guide Terran actions in the days ahead, he needed to revisit the truth behind their centuries of concealment. He touched the interface panel. The room around him dissolved into a holographic projection of deep space, far from Concord maps, unreachable by conventional travel. A woman's voice filled the chamber. Calm, authoritative, familiar. Aaron, she said. If you're accessing this, the threshold is nearing. Review is mandatory. The simulation expanded, revealing a colossal ring of floating metal fragments suspended in absolute darkness. At their center hovered an artificial star, pulsing with slow, controlled energy. This is Aegis Prime. The voice continued. Humanity's first hidden fortress. Aaron whispered. The cradle of our real history. The scene sharpened, revealing immense shipyards weaving through the shadowed void. Thousands of vessels drifted inside gravitationally stabilized regions, invisible to outside detection. Their hulls glimmered faintly, not with paint, but adaptive nanite layers shifting through defensive cycles. The narrator returned. When humanity joined the Concord, we displayed only a fraction of our capability. The rest was sealed behind the Aegis protocols. Aaron had studied these files since childhood, but experiencing them again carried weight. Every decision ahead would draw from this legacy. The projection shifted to an assembly hall within Aegis Prime. Hundreds of Terran strategists stood around a massive display showing maps of the galaxy, maps far more detailed than the Concord's. A stern elder spoke to the gathered leaders. "We choose peace," he declared. "But peace is fragile. We will not assume the galaxy shares our ideals." That philosophy shaped everything: Terran cooperation on the surface, Terran preparation beneath it. Another figure stepped forward. This one younger, intense. "We hide not because we fear conflict," she said, "but because revealing our full strength too early invites reaction. Fear becomes hostility. Hostility becomes war. The galaxy is not ready." Aaron sighed softly. Their caution had been justified. The Concord's behavior proved it. The projection darkened. A new image appeared, distorted, chaotic, terrifying. A vast field of fractured space, edges rippling like torn fabric. A Vorketh breach. "First recorded dimensional anomaly," the narrator said. 3,000 years ago. A probe disappeared. The only recovered data described luminous entities feeding on energy. Aaron straightened. "Our first encounter," he murmured. "Unconfirmed," the narrator corrected. "Until now." The simulation ended. Aaron returned to his suite, the echo of ancient warnings lingering in the silence. The Vorketh were not a sudden threat. They were the shadow humanity had prepared for through millennia. He opened a line to Aegis High Command. The hologram of Admiral Kalen appeared, white-haired, composed, eyes sharp enough to cut steel. "You reviewed the archive?" "Yes," Aaron said. "The breach signatures match the old recordings." Kalen nodded. "Then the Concord cannot face this. Their vessels react too slowly. Their tactics rely on predictable physics." She exhaled. "The Vorketh consume predictability." Aaron hesitated. "We still need the galaxy to hold together, Admiral. If we reveal too much too quickly, we risk turning allies into obstacles." "Which is why we waited," Kalen said. "Why we built in silence. But the breach is expanding. If the Vorketh push deeper, they'll find Aegis Prime." That single statement chilled the air. Aegis Prime was more than a strategic point, it was the heart of Terran sovereignty. Losing it would unravel centuries of preparation. Aaron stepped away from the hologram. "I will manage the Concord. Delay their interference. We need a little more time." Kalen tilted her head. "And when the Chancellor inevitably moves against you?" Aaron's jaw tightened. "Then we stop pretending." Before Kalen could respond, Aaron's sweet alarm flashed crimson. Unauthorized entry attempt. He cut the connection and allowed the simulation to fade. The sound of armored footsteps echoed from the corridor outside. A voice barked orders. "Terran diplomat identified. Prepare containment field." Aaron remained still as the doors slid open. A squad of Concord security officers stormed in, weapons drawn. Their leader, a reptilian officer with rigid plating, stepped forward. "Commander Solara," he said sharply, "you are to be detained for questioning by order of High Chancellor Dravik." Aaron kept his tone steady. "On what grounds?" "Suspicion of withholding information vital to galactic security." Aaron met the officer's eyes. "I've done nothing unlawful." "That will be determined," the officer replied. "Surrender peacefully." Aaron considered his options. Negotiation would fail. These soldiers were following direct orders. Resistance must be subtle, controlled, precise, and revealing only what was necessary. "Very well," Aaron said. "But understand this, my people won't appreciate." Before he finished, one of the soldiers lunged to bind his wrists. Aaron moved. Not violently. Not visibly aggressive. But with speed that should have been impossible for a human. He slipped aside, let the soldier's momentum carry him forward, and tapped a neural point along the soldier's neck. The armored figure collapsed, unconscious but unhurt. The others froze, stunned. Aaron's voice remained calm. "I dislike being mishandled," one officer whispered. "Humans aren't that fast." Aaron raised his hands slightly, palms open. "You forced my hand. Leave now, and no one else is harmed." Confusion wavered through the squad. None advanced. Aaron stepped backward and activated a localized EMP field. Their weapons flickered and died. Before they recovered, he triggered the emergency escape panel behind him, a mechanism only Terrans could perceive. The wall split, revealing a narrow transit tube. Aaron paused at the threshold. "Tell the Chancellor he overplayed his hand." With a tap, the tube sealed, propelling him into the station's understructure. As he vanished into the shadows, he sent a single encrypted command across the Terran network. "Protocol Zenith, Phase 1. Initiate veil drop preparation across all sectors." The mask still covered humanity, but cracks were forming. And once it fell, the galaxy would never see humans the same way again. The transit tube shot Aaron through the understructure of Vexor Prime like a silent arrow, bypassing surveillance and security grids. Terran infiltration routes were woven into every Concord station decades ago, hidden in blind zones no scanner could penetrate. A precaution humanity pretended never to need, until now. When the tube halted, Aaron stepped into a dim maintenance bay. The air carried a metallic chill. He tapped his wrist node, projecting a tight beam link to Eegis command. A hologram flickered to life, Admiral Kalen again, composed but tense. "You escaped," she said. Dravik tipped his hand. Aaron replied. "He's preparing to frame us. We can't maintain the facade much longer." Kalen nodded. "Then this may be the moment we've waited for. Look to Sector 7. Aaron turned toward the bay window. The stars outside shimmered, and then something impossible occurred. Space itself peeled open. A column of darkness split, then reformed into light. Dozens of Terran warships materialized from folded space, each vessel a geometric sculpture of obsidian alloy and faint blue veins pulsing with power. They moved with absolute precision, as if part of a single organism. Aaron whispered. "The Aegis fleet has begun decloaking." "Not fully," Kalen corrected. "Only minimal presence. Enough to unsettle the Concorde." Aaron understood the strategy. Show just enough strength to force the galaxy to rethink its assumptions, while keeping the full force hidden until the Vorketh demanded it. But even this partial revelation would change everything. Moments later, alarms blared across the entire station. The maintenance bay lights brightened as security systems activated. A Concorde officer's voice echoed through the hall. "All personnel, emergency alert! Unidentified armada entering Vexor Prime perimeter." Aaron allowed himself a thin smile. The Concorde had never mapped Terran space, never tracked Terran jumps, never understood how humans moved between stars without rippled traces. Now they were getting their first taste. He headed toward a private lift connecting to the summit chamber. The doors slid open, carrying him upward through layers of reinforced architecture. When he emerged, chaos ruled. Delegates swarmed around holoscreens showing the Terran fleet. Conversations collided in frantic bursts. Their ships weren't on any registry. They just appeared. No energy buildup detected. What have the humans been hiding? Dravik stood at the center, trying to impose order, but panic drowned his authority. Aaron stepped into the chamber. Instant silence. Every gaze locked onto him, accusatory, fearful, desperate. Dravik's voice trembled with fury. "Commander Solara," he said, "what exactly is your species doing?" Aaron walked to the center unhurried. "Protecting the galaxy? By violating Concorde protocols? By deploying an unregistered armada around our capital?" Aaron met his glare. "Those ships were not deployed. They moved. And what does that mean? Dravik demanded. Aaron lifted his wrist node. A projection of the Vorketh breach appeared above them, now twice as large as earlier. This, Aaron said, is why we act. The breach is widening. Your fleets cannot withstand these entities. We can. A delegate snarled. You lied to us. Humans played weak while building superweapons. We played patient, Aaron corrected. There's a difference. Dravik slammed a hand on the podium. Enough evasions. Humanity stands accused of deception. Until we control your fleets, you will. Aaron cut him off. No. You won't. Gasps echoed across the chamber. Aaron continued, voice steady. Humanity joined the Concord in good faith. But the Concord never viewed us as equals. You saw us as unpredictable, unruly, manageable. That perception kept us safe, and kept you comfortable. But comfort is a liability now. A transmission pinged Aaron's node. Kalen's voice streamed into his ear. Vorketh swarms detected. They're entering real space near Orion. Aaron raised the volume so everyone could hear. The chamber froze. Dravik paled. How many? Kalen answered, her voice echoing through the room. Hundreds. Possibly more emerging behind them. They're tearing apart subspace barriers as they advance. The holodisplay updated itself. The Vorketh appeared as writhing shapes of distorted light, their forms shifting between geometry and flame. They advanced like a tide consuming the stars. The delegates trembled. Chancellor, Aaron said softly, we don't have time for political theater. The Vorketh are here. Dravik shook his head. No. This can't, we need more data. We must confirm. Kalen cut in. Your fleet at Orion is already gone. We intercepted their final transmission. The holo replayed the last moments, Concord vessels firing desperately, then disintegrating without sound. The feed ended abruptly. Several delegates finally understood the truth. One whispered, We're finished. Another murmured, Unless the humans intervene. Dravik's jaw clenched. You expect us to trust you? After everything you concealed? You don't have to trust us, Aaron said. You just have to survive long enough to understand why we hid. Dravik glared. You want control. This is your chance. Aaron stepped closer. I want victory. Humanity wants survival. And whether you accept it or not, we are the only species with the means to counter what's coming. A deep tremor reverberated through the station. The holomap showed the Vorketh accelerating toward inhabited systems. Kalen's voice chimed in again. Aegis fleets are moving to intercept. But we may need authorization for Zenith Phase 2. Aaron nodded. Prepare for it. I'll handle the Concord. He turned back to the hall. Chancellor, if you attempt to restrain us now, your people die first. Help us or stand aside. Dravik's hands tightened around the podium. Rage battled fear behind his eyes. Finally, he spoke, voice brittle. Very well. Humanity may engage. But this does not absolve your deception. Aaron's expression didn't waver. History will judge that. For now we fight. The chamber flickered with new tactical feeds as the Vorketh breached another defensive line. Terran ships edged into formation, precise, silent, deadly. Aaron initiated the link to the Aegis fleet. Commander Solara to all strike groups. Engage at will. No hesitation. Kalen responded immediately. Understood. Terran forces moving out. The holodisplay revealed the first clash. Terran vessels fired beams of condensed gravity, slicing through Vorketh constructs. Nanite storms swirled, forging temporary barriers in collapsing space. The coordinated dance of Terran tactics shocked every watcher in the chamber. But even as Vorketh fell, more emerged. Dravik whispered, They adapt. Yes, Aaron said. Which is why we've only shown a fragment of our strength. He watched the battle unfold, jaw set, eyes sharp. You wanted to know what humans hide, he murmured. Now you'll see. The station shuddered as an overwhelming Vorketh signal pulsed across the void, an intelligent, predatory awareness brushing against the Aegis fleet. Dravik stepped back. "What was that?" Aaron's voice hardened. "They noticed us." The Vorketh signal rippled through space like a pulse from a dying star, bending light and twisting the void around itself. Aaron felt it like pressure behind his eyes, an alien awareness brushing the galaxy, tasting every source of energy, searching for resistance. It found humanity. Alarms blared through Vexor Prime as the station trembled under the psychic wave. Delegates clutched rails, struggling to stay upright. Even Dravik staggered, his composure fracturing. Aaron remained steady. Terran operatives underwent intensive neuroconditioning for exactly this moment. The Vorketh weren't just a physical threat, they invaded minds. He opened a channel. "Admiral Kalen, status." Kalen's voice arrived sharp. "The Overmind identified our presence. It's directing a concentrated strike toward the Aegis perimeter. We can't hold without Zenith." Aaron nodded once. "Then initiate it." A pause. "Understood. All Aegis commanders stand ready." Aaron turned toward the chamber. "Everyone should seek shelter. The next phase is not gentle." Dravik stepped forward, eyes flaring. "What are you planning, human?" Aaron met his gaze. "Survival." Kalen transmitted again. "Commander, we require direct authorization from a Zenith designate. The system won't engage without you." Aaron straightened his shoulders. "Link me in." The chamber around him dissolved as the neural interface formed. The station vanished, replaced by an ocean of starfields, grids, and pulsing trajectories. The Aegis network opened itself to him, millions of pathways, data streams, tactical projections, and strategic options displayed in synchronized harmony. "Commander Aaron Solara," the system intoned. "Confirm initiation of Protocol Zenith." "Confirmed," he said. The Aegis core responded instantly. Across dozens of hidden sectors, Terran superstructures ignited. Massive rings of quantum-latticed alloy awakened, shedding their cloaks like serpents shedding skin. Within each structure rested a black sphere the size of a small moon. The core ascendant. Humanity's greatest creation. A super-AI forged from braided quantum minds and gravitational architecture, capable of rewriting localized physics. Too powerful to reveal. Too dangerous to use, until now. Aaron felt its attention focus on him. "Designate recognized." The voice resonated like a choir of layered tones, neither mechanical nor organic. Aaron steadied himself. "We need controlled constant folding fields along the Vorketh vectors. Create isolation pockets, deny them coherence." "Calculating, completed." Space responded. Localized regions twisted inward, bending reality into narrow corridors that trapped Vorketh clusters. Their energy forms clashed against shifting boundaries, unable to adapt fast enough. The delegates watching from the summit chamber gasped as the holofeeds updated. Dravik stared in disbelief. "You're shaping space." Aaron withdrew from the interface. "Only enough to slow them." "But how?" Dravik demanded. "By building what we never disclosed," Aaron replied. "Because disclosure would have created panic long before this day." Dravik fell silent, the weight of his earlier accusations collapsing beneath the truth. Kalen returned on the comms. "Vorketh formations breaking. But the Overmind is pushing a new construct forward. Something massive." The hollows shifted again, revealing a towering shape emerging from the breach, an immense lattice of molten geometry, its surface shifting between crystalline plates and burning plasma. It radiated intent. Aaron recognized it. The Overmind's physical projection. Kalen's tone darkened. "If it stabilizes, it will annihilate half the sector." Aaron stepped onto the command platform, ready. "Prepare an insertion unit." "I'm boarding it." Dravik's eyes widened. "That's suicide." "No," Aaron said. "It's strategy." Kalen spoke. "Strike carrier ready. Coordinates locked." Aaron gave a final look at the chamber. Delegates watched him with a mixture of awe and fear. He told them, "Remember this, humanity hid its strength, not to deceive you, but to prevent you from fearing us. We thought patience was wisdom. Now patience has ended." Before anyone could respond, the teleport field swallowed him. Aaron materialized aboard a Terran strike carrier built for deep insertion. Its interior hummed with synchronized nanite activity, the walls shifting subtly as systems recalibrated. The forward viewport displayed the Overmind's massive structure looming ahead, its radiance filling the void. Kalen's voice cut through. "Your armor is synced with the core ascendant. You'll have full field manipulation for short intervals." Aaron secured his helmet. "That's enough. You're not alone," Kalen added. "We'll maintain pressure on the flanks. Just reach the core." Aaron stepped into the launch chamber. The floor dropped away, propelling him into the silent black. The void swallowed him, but his suit adapted instantly, forming a thin layer of shimmering geometry around him, a mobile quantum lattice stabilizing his presence. The Overmind noticed. A psychic roar blasted through his skull, a flood of foreign emotion and alien hunger. It tried to crush his will, break his sense of self. Aaron pushed back. "You came to the wrong galaxy," he said aloud. With a thought, he reshaped the microfield around him and dove toward the Overmind. Its surface shifted, forming spikes and claws of molten energy. It lashed out, but the armor bent physics around each strike, redirecting attacks into empty pockets of warped space. Aaron landed on the Overmind's surface. The ground beneath him pulsed like a living machine. A voice rang in his head. "Why did you hide such strength?" Aaron answered through gritted teeth. "Because the galaxy wasn't ready to learn what humans become when threatened." He thrust both hands forward, channeling the core ascendant's focused pulse. A beam of folded gravity sank into the Overmind, destabilizing its lattice. The structure screamed, light, sound, and force merging into a single catastrophic vibration. Kalen's voice echoed faintly. "Its coherence is breaking. Finish it!" Aaron poured every ounce of will into the pulse. The Overmind's shell fractured, then shattered into cascading fragments. Each fragment dissolved, collapsing into harmless photons. The breach behind it began folding shut. Silence followed. Humanity had won. Aaron reappeared on Vexor Prime minutes later. The summit chamber was still. The delegates watched him in stunned silence. Dravik finally spoke, but his voice lacked the arrogance it once held. "You saved us." Aaron nodded. "Humanity saved the galaxy. But we didn't do it alone." The Chancellor lowered his gaze. "What happens now?" Aaron stood tall. "We build something better than the Concord. A compact founded on transparency, not control. Humanity will protect, not dominate." Dravik swallowed hard. "And the Aegis network?" Aaron looked out the window, where Terran ships moved like silent guardians. "It remains where it belongs. A shield, not a throne." He turned back to the delegates. "The age of pretending is over. The work ahead begins together, if you choose to stand with us." For the first time in centuries, humanity stood not in the shadows, but in the open, fearsome, brilliant, and necessary. And the galaxy finally understood who they truly were.